agentic AI application that he's rolling out with that platform. And so, with that said, I want to just hop right in and pass this off to Mellissa Tong and let her introduce herself and then move into her presentation. But thanks everyone for hopping on. Feel free to put your questions in the chat, and we'll tee those up for our Q&A session at the end. But we'll pass it over to Mellissa.
Hi everyone, let me share screen. Allow, okay, allow. Okay, let me go to slideshow. Okay, can anyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
good to go.
Let me move my, okay, perfect. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about marketing plus AI, using AI to strengthen your story, your structure, and content. So like Jabbar said, if you have any questions, since we have three people, so put your questions in the chat, and then I'll answer them in the Q&A after. Okay. All right, so just to give you a little bit about background, like Jabbar said, I was a former TV newscaster and Hollywood movie producer. So when I was in the news, besides anchoring the news, I was given to produce a daily 5-minute human interest segment where I could cover anything but hot news. So in those 4 years, I interviewed thousands of people and crafted over 1,200 on-air stories. So that really laid a solid foundation for me as a storyteller. So moving forward, I have done, 3 movies. The last movie, opened at AMC theaters, and now it's still streaming on Amazon Prime. And then have produced and directed, many, many TV commercials, branded content for some of the Fortune 500 companies. So these are some of the companies that we worked with and awards we won. Okay, so my first question to you guys is, how many of you have been in situations where you're talking to a friend and then, they say, oh, I'm having trouble with, this and that. And you say, oh, wow, I know somebody. Call them, talk to them, right? How many of you have experienced that? It's so easy for us to be able to talk about our friends' products and services and recommend that to somebody we know. But when it comes to selling ourselves, then sometimes we go, I don't know what to say. I don't like to sell. What if I don't say the right thing, especially, in social situations where, you're given a chance to pitch, right? Very few people actually would raise their hands. Most people say, okay, no, not me. I actually had a story. I worked with a women business owner one time, and she told me for years, for 6 years, every time when people say who wants to pitch, she would go hide in the bathroom and come out after because she didn't want to get picked. So I want guys to be comfortable knowing how to really tell your story and then use AI to enhance it. Okay, so out there, a lot of storytelling advice is, hey, just be confident, right? Put on this persona where you can be confident, you can talk about yourselves as if you're talking about somebody else. But think about it. If you do it that way, you're basically really putting on a different persona and almost like acting. Now, actors do pay a very, very high salary to do that because that's their job, putting on different personas and be somebody else. But we are not actors. So if we keep doing that, we basically, what's going to happen? We're going to have multiple versions of ourselves. Then it's going to fragment it, be fragmented. So the problem for doing that is it's focusing on performance over authenticity, pressure over clarity, and also we're going to have fragmented identity. So if we keep doing that, in the end, we're going to have multiple versions of our identity, and that's not going to help our business. So like I said, how do we combine marketing with AI? So AI, we're going to use as an amplifier. So if you have clear thinking going in, you're going to have better results. But if you have unclear thinking, you're going to have faster confusion. So I want you guys to start thinking of using AI as your thinking partner, not just giving AI a task, not just using a prompt. People always say, oh, have better prompts. I want you guys to go deeper than just having better prompts. I want you guys to, know what your direction is. So AI is like almost like AI is the car. You're the GPS. So you have to tell the car where to go. Because if you don't tell the car where to go, you start the car, you're going to drive, and then you're going to have no destination. So I want you to start having this basically this different relationship with AI. So where AI can help you to execute faster, but not helping you make decisions about your business. All right, I'm going to use a couple of stories to help you really think about how how you're going to tell your story in a way that is not only authentic, but relatable to your audience. So we work with this CPA firm, and one of the owners came to us and he said, oh, we've been going to a lot of networking events, but for some reason, our message is not really resonating. I say, oh, okay, what have you been saying? He said, oh, not much. We just say, hey, we're a CPA firm. We've been around for, I don't know, at the time it's like 15 years or so. And we love, obviously we like numbers and we love working, we love helping our customers save money from Uncle Sam. I say, okay, first of all, every CPA would have said that, correct? He said, yeah, you're probably right. I said, what makes you different? He said, oh, we're very passionate about what we do. I say, well, every CPA is going to say that. Oh, we've been around for 15 years. Mm-mm. Some CPA firms might have been around for 30 years. Oh, well, we have a track record of helping our clients save money. I say, not really, because every CPA is going to say the same thing as well. And I don't see why people would come to you versus somebody else next door. He said, okay, well, we need help. I say, okay, let's figure it out. So, I had a discovery session with them. And in the end, I found out why this particular, owner, I mean, he's a partner at the firm, wanted to start a CPA firm. So when he was 9 years old, his father was audited. And he remembers standing in the hallway watching his father go back and forth, try to get his paperwork ready. He said it was a very, very stressful time. And although he was only 9, he still wanted to help, but didn't know how. And somehow, that incident just got imprinted in his brain. But because nobody has really asked him why he started his business, or maybe they did, but he just kept saying the most obvious reasons, right? He loves numbers and he just likes helping people save money. But he never really got deeper and then connected the dots. So now, because I was putting on my reporter's head and then I was really asking very, very deep questions. So now he was able to see the relation. So back then, although he didn't really know it yet, he was only 9, but subconsciously, because he already decided, hey, look at my dad. He's in such, like disarray and didn't know what to do. It was a mess. So he really wanted help. So he already decided in 9 that this is what he's going to do to help other people. So now when he goes to networking event, instead of just saying, hey, I'm a CPA, I love helping people save money. Now his story is, hi, if you don't mind, I would love to share a story with you. When I was 9 years old, my father was audited and blah, blah, blah. So he went on and basically share his, story, the why behind, why he started this whole, journey with numbers. And he said, wow, people receive me very, very differently. Before, when I tried to hand people my business cards, nobody wanted to take it, or they would kind of take it and then they just like didn't really want to talk to me or anything. Now people really like my story. And sometimes people don't even remember my name, but they remember, oh, I'm the guy whose dad got audited. And I say, okay, so now you understand your why. What makes you different than other CPAs? He said, well, I have my why. I say, okay, that's not enough. He said, well, I don't know. I say, look, now that you have not only do you have your why, but that's your differentiator because when people come to you, they people who care whether their paperwork is ready or not, I mean, they're not going to come to you, right? If they don't care, they say, okay, well, if I get audited, I'll deal with it, right? Those are not your ideal clients. But for people who truly care, that they have everything ready to go at any given moment in case they get called the next day. Fine, no stress because their paperwork is already ready. So those are your ideal clients because they don't want to have to be stressed if that happens ever. And also it just for them it's good knowing that, they have everything in place. I said, those are your ideal clients. He said, oh, wow, I never thought about it. You see, so this is how, you can start thinking about your past experience and finding your true why, and then tie all that together and then make your story as strong as possible. So the next example I want to show you, this is a HVAC company, and they have been around for 70 years. So when they first hired us, they actually wanted us to shoot a branding video for the company because one of their biggest competitors just did a video. So they wanted to outshine them. And when I asked them, okay, what do you want your audience to see in your video? They said, oh, we want our audience to know we are bigger and better than our competitors. I said, okay, well, bigger and better. What is that like? What does that mean? He said, well, we want to show that with bigger machines, we have a bigger, bigger crew, everything bigger and better. I said, okay, first of all, I'm not sure that's the right angle to go. Also, I'm not really sure your audience can really relate about bigger and better. Let's see if we can find another way. So like I said, I had a discovery with them again, and then I realized that they didn't really spend time establishing their brand. Although I mean, they have been around for so long, so obviously, they're very, very successful. They're very, very known in the community, and they've been winning, I guess, awards for like 10, 12 years straight, in the industry. So obviously, they're very, very successful. But yeah, when it comes to branding, they didn't really pay too much attention about truly establishing their brand as something more valuable than just a company, installing, you know, air conditioning, units. So he said, okay, well, what do we do? So we found out that some of the employees have been working there for over 20 years. And then one of the partners take their reviews very, very seriously. He answers all of the reviews online, all of the inquiries online, and they have a really, really good ethic. And they train all their employees in-house and they certify them in-house. So they have this really sort of like, way of qualifying people and then make sure that everyone is trained well and have good ethics and all of that. So, and then from there, I realized that they really care about, making the customers feel good regardless of the weather. So that's really their mantra. So we ended up developing this tagline for them. No matter the weather, we make it better because it's no longer just selling the units. They truly want their customers to feel good so that, even if it's too cold and too hot, it doesn't matter because inside, they make it better. So after adopting this sort of like tagline, now when their sales team call, the potential customers, they're no longer asking, oh, how old is your air conditioning unit? Do we need to go out there and replace it? Or do you need any filters change, blah, blah. So the question is no longer about selling the units per se. It's about, hey, we're here to make your life better. We want you to feel better regardless of the weather. You see, so this is a much better conversation and much easier conversation to have than just about selling. So again, so this is how you can really think about your brand and how to integrate, from your customer's point of view, how you can make their lives better than just selling what you have. Now, the next example I have for you is a hotel chain. So they both have a B2B team and a B2C team. So obviously, B2B is selling conference space, um, event space. They have multiple, rooms get, big from small to big. They can turn into different, activation events, even like, they have a room where they the doors can open really wide, so can actually drive any, cars into the conference space, even have a car show and stuff like that. And then, like mostly events and room blocks, right? Big conference room blocks. And the B2C are focusing on selling individual rooms, right? Peloton rooms, wellness rooms, things like that. So, and they feel like they're always trying to compete because B2B, they focus on selling, like I said, you guys know B2B, right? Business to business. B2C is business to customers, to consumers directly. So B2B say, hey, we are the brand, we're B2B. We sell bigger, contracts are bigger, room size, room blocks are bigger. B2C say, hey, but we want to be known for having wellness rooms, Peloton rooms, special requests. Not a lot of hotels have that. So it's almost like they have two competing brands. So they finally brought me in and said, "Hey, look, we have to do something about our brand because they're part of a huge chain, and they have to sort of preserve the, overall branding identity, but also establish their own at the same time, you know, have something both teams could use instead of having this competing identity." I say, "Okay, no problem." So I went in, had a full day retreat with both teams, and then finally kind of like have the narrative arc sits on top, and then both teams now can use. So that narrative arc is achieve your vision. So no matter whether you're B2B or B2C, whatever vision you have, we're going to help you achieve it. Let's say you're looking for event space, we have it. And they even have a screening room that they're completely underutilized. So if you say, hey, I have a movie, I want to have a screening, great, they have it. And then, B2C, I just want a nice vacation with my family. I want to book 3 nights, and I want a Peloton in my room because I don't want to have to go to the gym and come back. I just want to do everything in my room. And then, like I said, they have wellness rooms that they can put different scents in the room, to satisfy, your needs. So now everything sits under the narrative arc, like I said, achieve your vision. So now the conversation is no longer about competing. Hey, B2B, B2C, it's no more B2B and B2C. Everyone comes under this narrative arc. So this is how, if you have like a big team in your company, and if you do serve both B2B and B2C, so this is a way to tie everything together so that everyone have a very, clear identity. All right. So why do these stories work? Again, clear identity, right? No more confusion. And then it's relevant to the audience. Remember, can the audience relate about the 9-year-old story where his father was audited? Absolutely. Anyone can relate. Can people relate about, hey, no matter the weather, you're gonna make us feel better? Yes, we can relate. How many people can relate, achieve your vision instead of, like B2B, B2C, confusing, right? So your story has to be relatable to your target audience. And then lastly, the message has to resonate. Now, when your story is relatable, then it's gonna resonate. So if your story is not relatable, then it's not going to resonate. So it's sort of like it's sort of like a smooth, transition, right? Clear identity, relatable, and being able to resonate. All right. So why Greek stories don't convert? Better prompts don't fix unclear positioning. If you don't really know who you are as a company, then AI is not going to tell you who you are. More content doesn't create more trust. So AI amplifies what already exists. And if the strategy is unclear, AI amplifies the confusion. Like I said, AI is your car. You are the GPS. All right, so when sales slow down, most business entrepreneurs and business owners think, oh, wow, I have a storytelling problem. Let's fix my storytelling. And in reality, they may have an alignment problem because storytelling works only when it's aligned with your business. And I call that narrative alignment. So the narrative alignment model is identity sits at the foundation. On top of that is the strategy. You decide what direction you want your company to go, what kind of target market you want to reach, right? You're offering everything that sits in strategy. On top of strategy is operations, because once you decide, okay, this is the direction I want to go, and then operations have to support the direction. And then communication comes in to express the direction. And then when it comes to the audience experience, audience now can confirm that direction. So if any of these, level breaks, then the audience is gonna not feel the direction. So in the end, I have a QR code where you can take this quick scan, and then you can test to see for you if any things within these levels break. Because like you said, if your identity is clear, your direction is clear, operation can support it, communication can express it, then most likely your audience can experience that same direction. It's like one direction. Every level has to support each other. Okay, external authority is built on internal alignment. So when your story is aligned, remember the examples that I give you, and then you're going to have external authority. All right, so that's why I say alignment is the foundation, storytelling is the expression. And internal alignment creates external authority. All right, so how does AI come in? So again, you have to decide, you have to find out who you are, what you're about, why did you start your business, what makes us different. That's your identity. Once that's set, you got to decide, okay, where do you want to go? Who do you want to reach out to? What do we want to sell? How many product lines? How many service offerings, right? That's the strategy. You have to decide. And then you got to put your story together, right? How I was able to help these clients put the stories together. That's the narrative. And now AI comes in. So now you can tell AI, okay, well, this is my strategy. Help me output. Okay, this is my strategy. This is my narrative, right? Help me execute. So now AI can say, okay, great. What do you want to do? I want 10 posts for the next 2 weeks. So now AI can help you execute and produce content, right? Any type of content, social media content, your content, your email marketing content, your digital marketing content, any content you want to use outward to your customers. Now AI can speed that up. Again, AI cannot replace the thinking behind it. AI can help you get there much faster. Okay, so I'll quickly use, myself as an example. So how do I use AI? I use AI to evaluate Peng as a co-buyer, right? Okay, I go to AI and say, okay, if you don't know anything about Peng, compare us with other people who do the same thing in the marketplace and tell me truly, how do we stand in comparison? Compare what AI could see publicly when we only knew internally, right? So I know what Peng is about, right? Because I already, I know our identity, I know all that. But can AI see it publicly? Because you see, if it doesn't match, if you know who you are, but AI sees something else, when it, do its own investigation on the web, then you don't have alignment, right? And then lastly, once you found the gap, now you can have alignment and then make sure that the market could see what you want and know internally. Okay, like I said, I have a QR code for everyone. So this is a free narrative alignment quick scan. It's only 5 questions. So if you're interested, scan the QR code and then answer the 5 questions, and it will tell you the score, and it will tell you where you're at in terms of your alignment. And then you'll get an idea whether, you're breaking down in strategy or you're breaking down in communications operations, right? It's going to help you see clearly, where you need to work on. Or this is also my LinkedIn QR code because I post a lot of content on LinkedIn. So the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. So, scan one, scan both. Again, diagnose first, use AI to amplify it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. This is
Okay. All right. Thank
great.
you so much.
Yeah,
I
thanks
will
for
stop sharing.
that was awesome and great segue with respect to AI. Next up is going to be LaVada English with Bright Places Inc. And she's an AI readiness expert. And if we go over 11 o'clock, just quick note, that's fine. For folks that want to stay on, we'll hang out a little past 11 o'clock if needed. But with that said, we'll bring LaVada to the stage and let her present on AI as well.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mellissa. That was very impactful. And I heard an overall theme in Melissa's presentation. Humans are still at the center, right? Humans are still at the center of everything. So while we love the technology, what's going to make us stand out is our expertise we bring to the table and keeping our authenticity and not allowing the AI to steal that from us. And the reason why I bring that up is because using AI requires a very high level of critical thinking. And sometimes people need to start with lessons in critical thinking. Would you all agree? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I want to ask you a fun question. How many AI tabs do you all have open right now? 50, 1,000, you know, 2, 10 at a time, 25, 10. Oh my goodness. All right, Jamie. So you got Claude open, Perplexity open, chat open, 5 chats open, 2 different accounts. Adrian, you're doing good with one. I usually have to jump around a little bit. I won't ask you how many tabs you have open, period. I think somebody in one of our last sessions said she had 99 different tabs open to different apps and so forth. Good, good, excellent. Zero. Phyllis is like zero. So Phyllis, you know what? You might be. Are you an AI resistor? Because I get it if you are. I get it. We like to say at my company and at both of my organizations that we're AI neutral. It's here, and so um, we don't really have an opinion about whether we like it or not. We just know that ignorance is not a strategy, so we need to learn and we need to be at the table. And one of the reasons why I founded the National Association of Women in AI is because the industry is 78% dominated by men, and we want everyone to be at the table, including men and women, right? So that's why we are advocating, educating, and supporting in the AI space. I'm also the founder of Bright Places Incorporated, and we are a learning and development firm that's been incorporated since 2018. We work with several entities, and the reason why I do this, Melissa brought that up, is because when I was working in corporate, I had many people calling me, telling me that they didn't feel safe, they didn't feel valued. I was placing them in positions where there were issues with them feeling welcomed. And so I started to go into helping managers, leaders, executives understand how to navigate culture inside of workplaces. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some practical things in AI. I'm only going to take about, let me just time myself. I'm going to take about 10 minutes so we can get Arthur on. Okay. So I want to talk to you about using some of your AI tools in a way that helps you to get to the marketing intelligence, right? Now, you don't have to be an AI expert in order to use AI to help you with marketing and reaching your folks, okay? So let me say that again. You don't have to be an AI expert or a tech or a marketing expert to be able to use AI to help you get to better marketing for your organization. The organization that we meet every Tuesday with the women in AI are non-tech women learning from women in tech and other people in tech to use these tools, right? So they can enhance your ability, okay? I'm going to take the chat down because it's distracting me. So if somebody asks a question, you all just yell out, okay? Okay, so your business already contains a lot of marketing intelligence for you, and AI can help you decipher that, aggregate that, bring that into some analysis that will help you to see how you can better reach out to your clients and do the things that Mellissa mentioned, right? So who's helped define who you are using the tools, right? Because sometimes people are like she said, they have a problem identifying who they are exactly, right? But we have some patterns in our business. So we have email, we have calendar, we have client folders, we have CRM, customer records, we have meeting notes, we have files and prompts. And AI can help you aggregate that information so that you can say, who are my customers? What am I doing best? Who am I talking to? Who's attracted to me? That's a huge, huge thing because, I like to say, um, you can learn from any university, right? You can walk into any library, you can learn from several coaches. But why do you want to learn from or connect with the people you're connecting with, right? Many people are selling the same things, but why do you buy this brand of sneaker over the other? Sneaker stores are everywhere, right? So that's your differentiator, right? And you can learn about yourself using AI tools, okay? Things you might not notice. So if you use a framework, we love frameworks. So when we teach, we love to show you frameworks, and you use the plugins that you can use with chat, right? We'll just stick with chat for now, and that gives you data. You can get insight and you can increase your communication with your clients. Okay, so let's talk a little more about that. So we need to start with trust. So we want to use a trust framework even before we start to get data from our AI. Okay. So what do I genuinely know? What do I genuinely know and stand for? What do their behaviors and conversations tell me? How should I communicate so it sounds like me? What matters to the people I'm serving, and how can I be of useful service, right? Because you want to give your AI instructions, framework, guardrails, standards, a way of behaving before you ask it questions. Okay. So this is easy. You could plug in this trust framework and you could say, I want you to go through my emails and I want you to use the trust framework to help me define who I am for my clients. I'm missing something. What else could I be offering them? Right. And the way that I do this often is I look at what new services and products I'm thinking of offering, and I do a comparative analysis. This is what I'm thinking in terms of what I've seen with my clients. Is this viable for my clients? Is this something that they could really use? What else am I missing in terms of what I could offer them? The AI can help you to know that. Okay. Okay. So now we talk a framework. So what's a plugin? Um, in the chat, let me know if you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, LaVada. Like, I don't know what a plugin is, or I use plugins all the time. Give me some information. Talk to me. Talk to me. Anybody? Let's see. Are we on everyone? I know what a plugin is. Yes, I don't know. Yes, no.
Is
Don't
that
know.
when you advertise your business?
No. A plugin is a feature inside of chat. That's good. Depends on the context. I like that. A plugin is a feature inside of chat where you can connect your Outlook, or you can connect your Gmail, or you can connect your Google folders to ChatGPT. And in some cases, you can connect it to Claude. And they used to call it more like, they would call it like agents, using agents. But the terminologies keep getting more and more complicated. So they just decided like an API plugin, right? So you can use your plugins and chat, and you can stay in that ecosystem once you authorize it to look at, say, a folder or your share drive, right? Do what you feel is comfortable for you in terms of security, but I will add that AI is already in a lot of your systems. I operate with AI inside of my Microsoft 365 system because AI is already in there, and I feel like it's an ecosystem I can operate in because Microsoft has guardrails. Okay. So I might go to, and I'll show you if you want, if I have time. Let me just, I want to give Arthur time to get on, but I'll show you where you go to it on my chat if you don't mind, if you want to see that. Okay. And so when you go into your plugin, I was just on my other computer just now, and I said, show me what my customers need today, or show me some of the latest things. Give me a CEO brief of what my customers are asking for based on, what you see in my files, right? That's giving you information, right? You can use the trust framework to ask AI to analyze the information for you. Okay. And there's some prompts on here, so I won't leave you without, okay? So you can go to Outlook, right? You can add Outlook and you connect it to the account. Review my client's customer-related email conversations from the last 12 months. Use the trust framework as a lens for your analysis. Identify recurring customer types, common problems, repeated language, common questions, industry roles and appearance. It's just doing a data analysis for you so you can get focused, right? And you can see where to put your effort. I don't know if you all have taken Clifton Strengths or some kind of assessment about your personality, but I'm a maximizer. So maximizers like to get to the point, and they don't like to do things unless there's some outcome for them, right? So that's why I give you a lot of practical tips, because I want you to be able to use it now. But also, I want to point this AI as something that's going to make me money. So I don't want to use the efforts that Mellissa described unless it's going to make me money, right? Anybody on singing the same song as me? We on the same choir? Okay. So, oh, Jamie, you got to show me the app, baby. Come on, show it to me. We can talk offside. So same vibe, right? Jamie's like, it needs to make me money. So I like the trust framework, or I like to create frameworks first, because I use a technique called STAR when I'm prompting. It gets into more, but I need to know situation, task, action, result. I need you to know what the situation is, what the task I need you to do, and what result I'm looking for. And the trust framework helps me to define that for this type of analysis. Okay. All right, so you can say you can ask follow-up questions. When you ask follow-up questions inside a chat, that's called chain prompting. That's called chain prompting. And you want to do a lot of chain prompting, because if you ask it too much at one time, then it doesn't decipher information in a way that's valuable to you. So based on what you found in my Outlook conversation, who appears to be my strongest existing customer, right? Wait till it gives you that information and then chain prompt and ask it the next question. Identify 3 to 5 meaningful customer segments based on actual patterns in my email, right? So now I'm pointing my information, I'm pointing my strategies that Mellissa gave me to viable clients, okay? All right. And it's really cool to do this because it's an analysis of where you've been to help you understand where you need to go, right? It's not cold what industry is. It's like, who has LaVada been? Who has Jabbar been in the last few years in her business? What has worked for me? What has not worked for me? And what could I be offering out here? What could I learn? What certifications would be best for me to get so that I won't get anyone that don't matter? Okay. So I'm gonna skate through this so I can be done at 45. So do it with your calendar too. Review my business meetings for the last 12 months. I want to understand patterns that could help me improve my marketing and business development. Use the trust framework as part of the analysis. Again, you're going to get these slides. Don't worry about it. Snapshot away, but you're going to get these slides. Okay. Do it with your Google Drive. I did it with my Google Drive. A little bragging here. Since my business, I've worked with over 70 companies. That's huge analysis inside of your Google Drive, market analysis. So now I'm pointing at my drive and I'm saying, who can I follow up with? I have these new services now. How could I pitch them to these particular clients so that they hear it's relevant to them and they hear it through their lens, help me to aggregate that message to them. Before I send out an email, before I automate messages, what should I include in them for this particular industry and audience based on what you're finding, right? So create the marketing after you do the analysis. Use the strategies after you use the analysis. And by all means, tap into AI's capability to do the analysis for you effectively and efficiently, right? Same thing, add Outlook based on the patterns you identify, product services, use the trust framework, okay? So teach, point, identify, contacts, draft messages, and review and approve, and keep that pattern going. You can ask even, I'm not sure how deep you are into with using the automations and the connections inside of chat yet. And I say chat because chat is really good with giving you more time in the game than Claude is. Once you refine things in chat, it's great to take it to Claude and take it to the next level, because I use both. But chat sort of gives you more time and more space and more what we call tokens, right? So I like to use chat, and it's getting better and better. Okay. So do your market analysis. You have gold in your folders. You have gold in your email. You have gold in your calendars. And you can do this, and you can also schedule chat to do these things. You could say every Monday, I want you to do a market analysis based on what I did last week. Oh, chat versus Claude. So OpenAI is ChatGPT. Claude is another. Adrian asks, what do you mean by chat versus Claude? Claude is another large language model. Chat is one, and you can use both, right? In sync so that you can manage your processes. But Claude tends to run out in terms of your usage per day quicker than chat. Okay, so we try to use both. Okay, awesome. Okay, all right. So we're going to have Author up next, and I hope this is helpful. You have the slides, you have my information, and you can always reach out to me to get more information. And if you want to come to our meetings on Tuesdays, they're open. National Association of Women in AI, thewomeninai.com. You can come every Tuesday, 3 to 4:30. It's free. We have men that come as well. We don't discriminate, and we're learning every day. We're learning every week, rather. Okay.
All
Awesome,
right.
awesome. Thank you, LaVada. Yeah, we'll pass it to Arthur, and he'll give a presentation on FUD, and we'll close out with Q&A.
Great. Thank you, Jabbar and LaVada and Melissa. Great job getting this going. Hopefully the audience is excited now about getting out there and using these tools, telling their story. Can folks all see my screen? Is that working now?
Yes, looks good.
All right. And after what Melissa said, it inspired me to make sure I tell my story here on why I'm building FUD. But I grew up an immigrant in the Chinese restaurant business, so I've always been surrounded by small business owners and entrepreneurs. And I'm all about giving back and helping the entrepreneurial community. I know everyone here is probably waking up every day and loving eating glass and getting their teeth kicked in, building their business, right? So it's not easy. And we want to make that journey a little bit less lonely and make sure you've got the tools it takes to succeed. So with that said, I know all of us here, we all have that hustle, right? We're all here at this webinar. We all want to learn. We all have that passion, that desire to get our businesses out there. And we know the issue isn't passion, desire, and agency. Sometimes we just don't have enough help. We don't have enough resources. We don't have enough time in the day. I'm sure many of you folks are the folks turning on the lights, shutting down the business at the end of the day, worrying about payroll, doing customer service. So that's a lot. And how do we grow our business in that environment? How do we make sure we're taking those steps ahead? Well, there's a big opportunity today now with all the stuff that with AI out there, agentic AI. And I really want to focus on the agentic piece today. And building off what LaVada said, there's a huge opportunity now for you guys to rethink your business. How do you surround yourself with a modern team? And that team is a combination of agentic tools with your human teammates, with coaches and mentors, and also this community, right? We're all in it together, and all of us want to support each other. So the goal behind FUD was to bring it all together, knowing everyone is resource constrained. Okay, I'll show a little demo at the end as well. But our goal at FUD is to make sure we're helping you take action. We're helping make sure that the agents, the AI is actually doing the work for you. Right now, a lot of you, I'm sure, are playing with the chat messaging capabilities and using it to converse and go back and forth. But we want to help you take that next step to where it's doing work on your behalf. All right. And we want to make sure you have a partner that you can brainstorm with. I know as an entrepreneur, it can be lonely at times, right? And one of the things that Jabbar and Crystal shared with us is that for a lot of folks is coming up with new ideas. How do I pivot my business? How do I renew my business? How do I come back? So we want to make sure not only do you have human coaches and mentors and community, but you have a tool to go and converse with and go back and forth and make sure you figure out the right next steps to take. And then we also know sometimes as a small business owner, we have to hold ourselves accountable, right? So in FUD, we want to make sure we deliver action items. You have the steps that are in there to remind you what needs to be done. And an example could be after this event, we've all been told to go tell that story, go work on using Claude, go work on using ChatGPT, go work on applying for that grant, right? We want to make sure we also help hold you accountable. So the mission behind FUD is not only have the agentic piece, the tools part of it, but also to make sure we bring it all together so you take action, okay? So I'm going through this very quickly, but I encourage all of you guys to take a look. I'll send a link afterwards so you guys can play around with the app. But we're here to support you to make sure you have the agentic tools, you have that community, you have the action items, and then you're also aware of what else is going on out there so that we stay involved and we're aware of the latest and greatest. Some agents that we're working on. The one I'm going to show you a little bit later is just a basic how to build a blog, how to build some content. But also what I've experienced, because I'm in the world with you guys. I'm a solopreneur. I'm a small business owner as well. I'm also a SCORE volunteer, so I mentor and coach on the side. I attend a lot of LISC events, and I know that all of us are out there thinking about grants, how to do government contracting and procurement, which means you need a capability statement, how to get loan ready and loan approved, how to do marketing, right? How to grow your team. So we want to make sure we're building agents specifically to support this community. So please take a look at some of the agents we've got after this call and let me know too what else you guys need because we want to make sure we're helping you take action, right? The idea behind FUD has always been to make sure folks here aren't just getting the information from the webinars, aren't just attending events, but what are we doing about them? You'll see we're going to try to support all of the LISC events going forward as well. And hopefully, Jabbar, I'm going to chat with you afterwards, but we want to build agents for every single event. So after that event, there's an action item, right? There's someone that's going to help do that work because we all know we're all busy. So how do we make sure we take this webinar and go beyond? So at a minimum, right, let's tell that story today based on what Melissa's taught us. Let's get out there and take those steps. And please let me know what else we can build. I've been lucky enough to build a team of AI natives. So they're eager to continue to build more agents for this community here. So just please follow up. Let me know how I can best help. And by the way, human part of it is big. There's some marketing jargon and buzzwords out there around human in the loop, human on the loop. And that's the part where the human does drive the AI part of FUD for sure. So we want to make sure within the FUD community, you can also, we're going to want to, Jabbar, I would love to chat with you about this as well. But how do we get technical assistance in there? You know, we have our own mentors and coaches in there. We want to get them involved because they can be the human in the loop. So that's a key part of it because the humans are the ones that are ultimately going to make sure the agents are doing the right things. So you're going to see in the FUD app as well, we've got that community component. We've got our own experts and mentors. We've got you folks in there as well. So the idea is to make sure the human is always in the loop because we're not going to blindly do what the agent tells us to do. All right. And then in addition, we're going to want to surface new opportunities. There's grants out there that we want to surface. There's more webinars. There's more events. I know a lot of us are also looking for loans that are out there. You know, what's the right SBA loan? Is there a CDFI I can partner with? So we want to build all that in FUD. So again, you get the content you need, the community you need, as well as the agentic tools you need. Okay. And I'll send a link. I'll drop a link in the chat. But what I'm going to do also real quick, just to show you a demo about what we built to kind of get you guys going. Okay. Hold on one sec. Let me close out of this screen. And sorry for going through so quick. I can speak very quickly, but I know we got to get onto the Q&A. Hold on. How do I disable this? All right, let me see. Oh, here's another screen I want to share with you. So we built pages to support these events, like I said earlier. So here's one for today. Feel free to jump in there. We're going to try to post content in here as well so you guys can get a recap. We'll make sure we have the agents in here to support you. We also went ahead and grabbed one for last week's webinar. So I know in this case, Marvin gave a great presentation. So we want to make sure all that is in there. And again, what's really important is that we have an agentic part of it so that folks can take that next step. And then hopefully, Jabbar, with your help and Crystal's help, I love to continue supporting all these future events. So we've already got one for the next week and we'll have to continue doing that because the goal, again, is to not just educate folks, but make sure everyone's taking that next step. And let me try to close this and show you the other tool real quick. All right, let's see here. So this is one of the agents I just wanted to show. We've got more than this, but here's an example where our agent is prompting a business owner to write a few things about what they're up to. So I went ahead and dropped one in here based off of my understanding of who's maybe in the audience. And you'll see it's going to give us some content ideas. It's going to help us write a blog, right? We're just talking about storytelling. We're just talking about, I know a lot of you folks are figuring out how to get marketing going. So now content creation is a big part of that. So we wanted to make sure we had a tool for that. Let's say, hold on one sec. Let me put another prompt in here. All right, so it's giving us some suggestions. So you see it's going back and forth with us. It's creating conversation. And hey, maybe the one that interests me is from cozy corners to online connections, right? So here's some tips. All right, it's going to create a blog post, and I'm going to give everyone a link here so they can play with this today, and hopefully helps you get going with your journey today. And then you'll see we're giving out 1,000 free FUD coins, so it's free to use. And then if you actually share a post to this blog in our community, you'll get an additional 500 coins today. All right, so it's cranking it out in real time. It's producing the content. And what's more important is we're also saving this information. So as you start to use FUD, we get to know you better and better. Okay. And here it is. Any questions or comments for me? Again, I know I speak quickly. I just want to make sure we got through all of this. What AI system can I use to build my own app and have it available? Oh, I see folks here talking about there's a lot of no-code solutions now, Lovable, there's Base 44. If you're willing to kind of get a little bit more out there, you can certainly try Claude Code and Codex. So those are some solutions out there if you wanted to play around building apps. All right. Well, let me drop a link in. Again, I'd love for you guys to demo it. I'd love for you guys to get feedback to me. We're trying to build more agents to support you. We've got things along how to find a grant, how to make sure you've got the right certifications, how to get loan ready. But this is based on what I know and what I'm building and what I need. But if you guys need more help, please let me know, okay? All right, Jabbar, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, LaVada. Thank you, Mellissa. We're still open for other questions. If you all have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or hop off mute, and ask your questions while you got them. And happy to answer those questions. But this was great. I like the flow of what we had. It was digital marketing, and kind of segue into the operationalizing AI. And then you have an application here with FUD. So definitely want to provide these as resources, and hopefully we can be helpful. And we'll get this information up on our resource hub. Crystal, if we don't have any